Rain had begun to fall over the bustling city, a slow drizzle that washed the streets in silver. People rushed to find shelter, umbrellas blooming like dark flowers across the pavement. But among the hurried footsteps and closing doors stood a little girl, drenched from head to toe, trembling from cold and fear. Her name was Lena. She held a crumpled hospital bill in her hands, her fingers numb, but her determination fierce. She was waiting outside the tallest building in the city, the headquarters of Armin Halim, a billionaire whose name was synonymous with power, discipline, and success. Lena had spent the entire day outside the building, waiting for the moment he would step out. She had no plan, no appointment, no backup. Only hope. And that fragile hope was for one thing: to save her mother, who lay unconscious on a hospital bed across town. Doctors had already warned her, if she didn't bring the payment soon, treatment would stop. They said the words gently, but they cut through her heart sharper than any knife. Lena had no father, no relatives, no one to turn to. And so she ran barefoot across the city and reached the only place she thought a miracle might happen. As evening approached, the sliding glass doors finally opened. A line of bodyguards marched out, scanning the surroundings. Behind them walked Armin Halim, a tall man in a charcoal suit, carrying an aura of command that made people step aside without being told. He was a man who lived by schedules and precision. Every second of his time was worth more than what most people earned in a month. Lena felt her heart jump into her throat. She knew this was her only chance. She stepped forward, her feet shaking, her courage nearly collapsing under the weight of fear. But she forced herself to run toward him, standing directly in his path. The guards reacted instantly. "Move aside," one barked. But Lena didn't move. Instead, she lifted her trembling chin and whispered, "Sir, please." Armin halted. Not because the guards hadn't cleared the way, his guards always did. But because the voice he heard was not demanding, nor begging, nor screaming. It was trembling, soft, frightened, and yet oddly strong. Armin looked down and saw a little girl soaked in rain, clutching a faded piece of paper. Her eyes held a desperation he had not seen in years. He raised his hand, signaling the guards to stand down. "What did you say?" he asked. Lena swallowed hard, forcing her voice to come out clearer. "Sir, please give me a job. Any job. I need money to save my mother. She's very sick. I can work. I can clean floors, pack boxes, serve tea. I don't want charity. I just need work." Her voice cracked slightly, but she held her tears back. Armin blinked, surprised. Children usually begged for money, for food, for help, but rarely did a child come asking for work. Her small hands opened, revealing the wet hospital bill. The ink had bled, the edges were torn, but the numbers were still visible. Numbers that could terrify adults, let alone a child. Rain fell harder around them, but Armin didn't move. He crouched down so he could look straight into her eyes. "What job can you do?" he asked quietly. Lena nodded quickly, eager to prove herself. "Anything, sir. I can sweep your office. I can clean cars. I can carry boxes. I can work from morning till night. I don't need much. I just need enough to save Mama." Armin gently took the bill from her hand. "Where is your father?" he asked. "He left," she whispered. "He said he didn't want a sick wife or a poor child. He never came back." The words hit Armin harder than he expected. He wasn't used to emotional conversations. His world was meetings, contracts, deadlines. But something about this child's bravery and pain broke through the walls he had built around himself. He asked softly, "How long has your mother been sick?" 2 years, Lena replied. She worked in a restaurant. She washed dishes, cooked, and cleaned until she got so weak that she fainted. After that, everything got worse. She can't stand now. The doctor said she needs treatment immediately. And if I don't pay today, her small voice cracked, I will lose her. A silence heavier than the falling rain settled between them. For the first time in a long time, Armin felt helpless, but not because he couldn't fix something. He felt helpless because he couldn't understand how a child so small carried a burden so heavy. Armin slowly stood up. Lena watched his face anxiously, afraid he would walk away. And when he said, "Lena, you don't need a job," she felt her world crumble. She thought he was rejecting her. Tears finally spilled from her eyes. But then Armin finished his sentence. "You don't need a job because I will take care of your mother's bills." Lena froze, unable to process his words. I don't understand. I only asked for work. This is not charity, Armin said firmly. This is what any human should do for another. He called his driver immediately. We are going to the hospital. Right now. The ride through the city felt unreal to Lena. She clutched the seat tightly, afraid she would wake up and discover it was all a dream. When they reached the hospital, Armin walked straight to the reception. His presence turned heads instantly. He paid every pending bill. He signed approval for surgery. He arranged for specialists. He upgraded her mother to a private room. He ordered round-the-clock care. Doctors and nurses hurried around, preparing for the treatment her mother urgently needed. Lena watched in disbelief as a billionaire moved mountains for her with a single signature. Hours later, after the surgery, a doctor approached Lena. Your mother is safe, he said softly. Her condition is stable now. Lena burst into tears of relief. She ran to Armin and hugged him tightly. Her tiny arms barely wrapped around him, but the sincerity of her gratitude was enough to melt even stone. Thank you, sir. You saved my mama. I will pray for you every day. Armin's throat tightened. He had been praised for business, wealth, power, but never had a thank you felt so pure. He gently patted her head and said, You reminded me what it means to be human. For years people feared him, respected him, even envied him. But none of those things touched his heart the way this little girl did. In helping her, Armin rediscovered a part of himself he had buried long ago, the part that once knew hardship, loneliness, and hunger. The part that understood pain. And in that moment, he realized something. True wealth is not measured by money but by kindness. Lena's courage saved her mother. Armin's humanity saved both of them. And together, they created a miracle where there was none.